Good evening, and welcome to this edition of our Navigating Life series. Navigating Life series is an outreach of the St. Andrew Church of Christ. And was sharing with you that we meet at 77 Radio Road and we worship on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. We have our midweek Bible class on Tuesday evenings using the same Zoom link or at our location at 77 Radio Road. Today, we are continuing with the discussion related to, is my partner a narcissist? And we had a powerful session led by our counseling psychologist brother, Andre Allen Casey. With your permission, I'd just like us to ask you to bow with me. We have a word of prayer, and then we turn right over to Brother Andre Allen Casey. Almighty God, we give you thanks for the opportunity to share insights to help individuals to navigate the challenges of this life. We ask, Lord God, that you will bless this session. Help, Lord God, that we will participate in the right spirit, and that what is shared will be useful, and that, Lord, we will seek to apply the insights into our lives. We pray all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, Andre, your time. I'm not hearing.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, just give me a second here. I'm trying to. Can you give me access?
Yeah, you have it.
Okay.
Might be on your own. Was
I am. Thank you very much. I hope and trust that everyone can hear me. My name is Andre Allen Casey. We want to go ahead and begin. Is my partner a narcissist? I hope that you can hear me loud and clear. But is my partner a narcissist? We're just going to do a little recapping, and then most definitely we're going to get into part two. So for those who the possibility exists that you were not here the last time, let me, we won't spend a lot of time on this segment, of course, but still give you an idea as to some of the things that we covered. Okay, so narcissistic personality disorder is a personality disorder characterized by grandiosity, entitlement, and of course, an excessive need for external validation. So that's a kind of working definition as to what narcissistic personality disorder looks like. Also, a description of narcissistic personality speaks to the idea that the narcissistic personality disorder is also characterized by self-centeredness. And I'd love for us to, in a very unique way, just try and remember some of these things with self-centeredness, because we're going to see how these things, we're going to possibly even do a small exercise to get folks to possibly share with us examples of how it can be manifested. But watch this now. and watch this now, in the females. That is the unique aspect of part two. In the females, in the females. Notwithstanding, we're going to give a small disclaimer to show the degree in which it manifests itself in the females versus the males, but we will get there. Notwithstanding, so we're saying here it is characterized by self-centeredness, also persons that seek attention and praise. They exaggerate, of course, their achievements, expecting others to recognize them as being superior. They tend to be very choosy about picking friends, since they believe that not just anyone is worthy of being their friend or even their spouse. So, and I want us to remember that one there too, not just anybody. So the fact that we are friends, you should be pleased that I have chosen to be a friend to you. So, so there. Also, narcissists, I should say, tend to make good first impressions, yet have difficulty maintaining long-lasting relationships. Want to also underscore and understand that. So when we reach even into part two and we're ready to give some solutions as it relates to how, if you choose to live with a narcissist, what are some things that you can do? Most folks would readily say, I want to go. But that is the natural responses. Let's see if that's the only response though. But we will get into that also. They are generally uninterested into the feeling of others and of course may take advantage of them. We looked at the different types and we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but the overt is the most common one. But the covert and the communal is interesting ones, because the covert speaks to, it is hard to detect because they appear to be shy, humble, reserved, and even insecure to other people. But the key term here, folks, is that they appear that way. Okay, the communal, again, of course, they are likely to be very active in charities or even or other good causes, and but of course they use these roles to promote themselves. So even if they do something good, everybody say, well, you're nice, see that person is so charitable, you look how much they give. But all of these things that they're doing is just to get the praise, often from men. So it is not coming from a genuine place, oftentimes. I'm not saying everyone, but oftentimes. Okay, that's the mindset of the communal narcissist. And so they create a reputation of being a good person. The malignant, I think, is the worst of them all. But again, we're not going to discuss this too much. And of course, you have some folks speaks volume of the healthy narcissist, and you might be saying, can you have a healthy narcissist? Right? Notwithstanding, these folks, oftentimes it is said that they do not allow the narcissist, that personality disorder, to interfere with how they relate to others. And that's why it is the healthy one, so to speak. But the mindset is one and the same. Symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder: they have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require constant, excessive admiration. And again, we want to bear this in mind. But high sense of self-importance. Look at who I am. Look at my latest amorous conquest. It's all about me. And what are you doing to satisfy my wishes? There's little to no negotiating, because I am correct and you are wrong. So it affects how I even listen or have any kind of negotiations, for that matter. If I choose to negotiate, is where I still come out the victor. They feel that, so we're looking at symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, but they feel that they deserve privileges and special treatment. They expect to be recognized as superior, even without achievements. They make achievements and talents seem bigger than they are. One of the things with the narcissistic personality disorder mindset, they can speak about even friends that they have or relationships that they have, which is not true. And of course, even their ability to do certain things. And again, of course, when put to the test, you realize that they're going to fail. And even in and with the failure, even in and with the failure, it is the mechanism that went wrong and not them. It is the mechanism that went wrong and not them. So they are going to give an excuse as to why it was not so, or they were not able to execute for that matter. They are preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate. And this is another thing should underscore about the narcissist. So it's not just anybody. They have to have the best looking female or the most handsome male or the most successful male or this female, of course, bring them off. But the female cannot be better than them. Talking from the male, the narcissistic tendency of the male, that is, cannot be better than them. And even if she has more, then she's reminded that that I must be in control of the more that you have, because you are here to serve me. One more time, because you are here to serve me. Okay. They believe that they are superior to others, see, and can only spend time with or be understood by equally special people. So persons that would praise them and let them feel good about themselves are folks that they said, I like you. Yeah, I like you because you understand. You understand. You understand me. I can relate to you. Everybody else seems to be an ignoramus, so to speak. And so oftentimes put down other people because other people are more critical of not only the way they think, but how they treat people or the way they think of themselves. And once persons try to expose them in that way, of course, they become quite defensive. Manifestations of narcissistic personality disorder symptoms. They are critical of and look down on people that they feel are not important. They expect special favors and expect other people to do what they want without questioning them. They take advantage of others to get what they want. They have an inability or an unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. They are envious of others and believe others are envy them. They behave in an arrogant way, brag a lot, and come across as being conceited. And of course, they insist on having the best of everything. For instance, best car, best house, best partner, best of everything, best education. If they know a little, believe you me, man, that little, they behave as if to say they are the expert in the little that they do know. And of course, they're going to flaunt it, very much so, flaunt the little that they do know. Although that's the only thing that they may even know, for that matter. So again, I just want to pull out two things right here. Have an inability or an unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. So how do you live with a person like that? An inability or an unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. Interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit. Well, not just now. They are envious of others and believe that other folks are envious of them. So these are folks that you can hardly even try to correct. As a matter of fact, your approach of correcting them is not going to make it work, literally. But we are going to even look at some steps or some things that we can do if we choose to maintain a relationship with a person that possesses narcissistic personality disorder. Part 2. So here we are, and here we go. First part, the first thing I want to start off with in terms of part 2 is somewhat a little bit, I might get a little pushback on this, but here we go. Are there narcissistic personality disorder traits in women? And maybe you might have some folks who might say yes, you may have some folks that says no. As a matter of fact, incidentally, once we talk about narcissistic personality disorder, and one or two persons, even if it's only the three of us on right now, that's okay. I'm good. I want somebody to mic up and tell me, when you heard about narcissistic personality disorder, did you believe that, or do you believe that, well, which was the first gender that came to mind? That is the question. Anybody?
Male.
Female.
I'm down over here.
Man.
Okay. But generally speaking, it is attributed to male. And there is some truth to it. 7.7% of men will develop narcissistic personality disorder in their lifetime versus only 4.8% of women. Meaning that narcissism is much more common in men than in women. So if you said men, yes, there is a whole lot of truth associated with that. Notwithstanding, some research also suggests that covert narcissism and communal narcissism are more common in males. And this is why we did the recap to at minimum identify the different types of narcissistic personality disorder that exists. And so we were able to look at the communal and, of course, the covert. And one of the things that we mentioned about both of them, well, you know what? Who can tell me the description of I want somebody to tell me the description of the communal and someone to tell me the description of the covert. Anybody can mic up and share. If you remember. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. One of the things that we said, what did we say about the covert? Oh, I don't know if it's in the chat. Let me check the chat then and see if somebody is saying it. Okay, yes. So they share similar traits, but the communal does things to be praised. That too, excellent. But one of the things that we said also about the covert is that it's hard to detect. It's very hard to detect where the covert is concerned. And so this is why even if a female possess the NPD, it's going to be very hard to detect. One of the things with the communal though is that, again, yes, they do they are very supportive in different things, and so they are considered good persons. But as the person wrote in the chat there, thank you very much, Doc. But yes, they do it to get the praise. All of what they're doing is most definitely to get the praise. That is coming from the communal. The covert, again, may seem to be nice and everything like that. But one of them, as the word denotes, covert in a very unique way. I'm going to possibly still get the praise, but I do not have to be loud about it. or it may not be so obvious that I'm doing so. Okay, excellent. So we're saying here that the research again suggests that covert narcissism and communal narcissism are more common in females, while overt and grandiose narcissism are more common in males. This difference, of course, may be at least partially explained by the different traditional gender roles created in society for men and women. So we are saying that these gender roles may contribute to why a person might even develop narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. Therefore, a female with narcissistic personality disorder may, and this is now the degree in which it differs from the male to the female. And the only difference now is the degree in which it is being manifested. So even in the communal and the covert, it is still the degree in which it is manifested. For females or for women that have these, that has the MPD traits, they may have less severe MPD traits than male narcissists. They may be less grandiose and entitled than male narcissists. In other words, it's not, so if they don't get it, it's not going to become problematic per se. Not that they're not going to complain about not getting it, but it will not be problematic. They may be very selective as to where that complaint is going to be echoed, so they might be selective as to where. Maybe in the relationship, they might say, okay, then it is not necessary as well. Maybe at the workplace, they may think it is necessary, or it may not be necessary. Or you might find that they may even behave a little bit more submissive at home, but at work, this is where they have to stand out and remind persons of who they are, because they adjudicate that, especially if it's a male boss, that you're trying to take disadvantage of me, so to speak. So I have to be even more assertive than normal, even if it is uncalled for. One of the things with narcissistic personality disorder is that they have a tendency to also to be paranoid. So they think that they have to be on the defense and protect themselves because people are out to get them. Still talking about the difference between the male and the female and the degree in which it manifests itself. I'm talking about the narcissistic personality disorder. Be less physically aggressive than male narcissists. Be more difficult to detect than male narcissists, and we established that. Be misdiagnosed more than male narcissists. Have more empathy than male narcissists, and therefore be more emotionally sensitive and reactive than male narcissists. Okay, so one of the unique things also, I don't have all the information here, but it's because I've done some reading. One of the things that they have also, that they can do, and why it is also done in a unique and a covert manner, is that even in an attempt to be kind and sharing, and submissive in quotation is actually a mechanism of becoming manipulative. So the submission is actually still to get what they want. So they may cry and they get their attention. They may even behave as if they're ill and they still get their attention. But now it is almost in a psychological way, a reverse psychology that has been utilized, but they still get what they want out of you, just the same. Now, this is where I want your interaction. Looking for your interaction, big time. We're not going to be long today, right? But your interaction, because we want to, get folks to possibly even ask some questions. But what can I expect from this relationship? And this relationship, I must admit, is not only as it relates to the female, but both the male and the female. And I really crave now that folks come up. You can just mic up and talk to me. But I'm looking for different examples as to all of these, different examples to all of these. So in this relationship, let's say you have a partner. Let's say for our practicality, so we're not saying anybody here on the platform has NPD, but let's just say so you know of someone that's may have some of these traits, what can you say about the runner-up slash shadow? What comes to mind when you hear runner-up shadow? Clearly, the runner-up and the shadow is the other person and not the narcissist, by the way. But what could that look like? Anybody? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The runner-up or shadow.
That person wants to be like the spouse. Want to be like the other person. Imitate.
Okay.
They want to be almost like, so they're, similar. Imitate.
One of the things, thank you very much. I still want more information, but one of the things that comes to my mind about the runner-up is you are the runner-up to me. You are the shadow to me. You support me. You do what I want. You're not the image. You're not the real thing. And so don't ever get it twisted. If you walk in front of me, if I allow you to drive, it's I allowed it. It is not you being assertive as to who you are and trying to dominate anybody or anything where this relationship is concerned. Please understand that you're second. You're the constellation prize. That is where my headspace was when I talk about runner up. And so an example of that now could, can you imagine you're in a relationship with someone and really this is how the other person makes you feel in that relationship. This is how they make you feel, So it has nothing to do with your scholastic achievements, or your status in life and living. Nothing. Or even how much money you're making. Because you are the runner-up. You are the runner-up. A matter of fact, we don't reach this yet about controlling finances, but we don't reach right this yet. But you married up. I mean, you married up. By the way, I don't know if you know the joke, and it is a joke, by the way, but it is postulated that who marries up and who married up? Well, let's use the word who married up. Who this said? Which gender marries up? Because if somebody can...
Female.
Anybody want to question that?
No, there's no question. But the majority women tend to want to marry up as they want. They want to put the men up, want the men to be above them financially and status wise, so to speak. That's how most women are.
Okay. So if she feels, so can you imagine, according to society and the societal norms, can you imagine she feels that she marries up and then on top of that go married to a narcissist, which then in his mind, as far as he's concerned, him marry down.
Right.
Wow.
That's a rope around the neck.
So all I'm just saying here, it makes the situation for her even worse, because he already has a certain kind of mindset, or she, I keep on saying he, by the way, or she has a particular mindset. And then on top of that now, but here according to societal norms, I marry up because I want this person to take me out of certain crisis and all those things. If that is the mindset, of course, right? So, but you do have some females who think that they married down and not up after all. And this doesn't have anything. That's why I asked if there's somebody who would like to question that. Because you do have on the other side where females says, some females think that it's settle, I settle. It's settle, I settle. I settle for this person because he doesn't have as much as I do. He doesn't think the way I do. He doesn't have the level of emotional intelligence that I have and all those things. So I'm here to groom him. I'm here to groom him. Okay? So I bring him off, so to speak, right? Now, all I'm saying here, so you do also have that mindset. But can you imagine the female has a narcissistic personality disorder, and the man believes that, yes, the lady's here to help me. I'm a better person because of my partner, because of my wife. I am who I am because of my wife. Not before long, he's going to possibly feel emasculated from that relationship, especially if the narcissistic personality disorder tendencies start to become quite evident. Humor up. Slave or servant, frequently in submission. Anybody want to comment on that one? Slave or servant, frequently in submission. All right, let me say something in case, and you can always comment after, please, or you can even do it before I do. But the slave or the servant, always serving your partner. Somebody says, but is that such a bad thing if you always serve your partner? What's so amazing? And you can tackle me on this one, please. And I invited to do so, actually. But in some relationships, I did say some, not all, clearly not all, but in some relationships, if the male is the servant to the female, that's a good man. If the female now is the servant to the male, then shouldn't have no sense. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Disagree.
You disagree?
Absolutely.
Okay, speak to me.
So the female in the sense of, well, I don't like the word slave and servant, but in terms of, if you look at it from a biblical standpoint, where it said the woman should be a helpmate to a man, or you want to say the woman should be submissive, then it will fall somewhere along the line between these two words. But so as being submissive, that means she will making sure everything for the man is okay. And of course, men should do likewise, make sure everything is okay for the female. So I don't think it's supposed to be a one-sided thing. I think it's all both ways, where we both should, take care of each other.
Okay, thank you.
In taking care of each other, though, you shouldn't feel like a slave, though.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I agree with that. That's what I said. That's why I don't like the word servants or slave.
Right. Well, so what I was alluding to, though, very, very good. Thank you very much for the wonderful for both comments. What I was alluding to is what is a part of the societal norms and thinking. In other words, if the female served the male, then that is good. She's a good woman. But if the male serve the female, if the male serve the female, then what kind of man him is? And I'm just saying, sometimes, we feel as if to say, well, it for the most part, it should be one directional. And quite on the contrary, folks. As a matter of fact, it is that kind of belief system that can set an amazing platform for narcissism to rear its ugly head. Where one feels that it is your duty and responsibility as a female to serve me. Okay? As if to say, well, so hold on a minute. So me mustn't serve too? We mustn't serve each other? Who said it? So we look at even that word submission into the Bible, and think that it was only regulated to the female, when they must learn to love each other. They must be submissive to each other, as in the fear of the Lord. That's how in Ephesians, that's how it started, the argument about submission. But be it as it may. But submission. Then you have now being disrespected. Being disrespected. The whomever, the partner who is married or to a narcissistic person, or I should say a person that has those tendencies. That's a better classification. The partner can oftentimes feel disrespected, where they feel that they don't have a say. Every opinion that is shared, sometimes they are called names. What kind of fool thinking that? But you can't, you don't think straight. Were you thinking when you came up with that? You know what, Mr. Before you say anything, you pass it by me first, because I don't want you to embarrass yourself. All right. You know, so you are is a constant put down, and you will have anything that you say really, it has to meet my approval. If it doesn't meet my approval, then the name calling starts to ring out. Can anybody on this platform thus far, I'm not saying be able to relate in terms of you personally, but am I making sense? Can somebody, is there anybody that can say, yeah?
A lot.
Okay. Okay. All right then. All right. So we have more. Non-validation of feelings. Ouch. You remember when we looked at the symptoms and the manifestation of remember when we looked at the manifestation?
Wait, what? I know that one.
Okay, can you be muted a little for me, please?
Vampire. Something vampire.
Yeah. Can that vampire be Zampire? Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Yes, Twilight Zone. Can you mute for me, please?
Oh, sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Thank you. Right on. So we are saying, so we are saying here the non-validation of feelings. Remember when we're talking about the manifestation of narcissistic personality disorder? And one of the things that we highlighted was that this person really and truly non-validation of feelings. Non-validation of feelings. By the way, I'm going to possibly get myself in problems. But is there, should I go ahead and ask the question? If you feel a little bit challenged by what I'm sharing here, don't answer, by the way. Don't answer. If you feel that I'm being biased based upon what I'm saying here, why? Especially if what I'm sharing is the truth. Why? I want you to think about, do some introspection and ask yourself, why? Why do I feel, and why would I even ask such a question or pose such a question right here, right now? Why would somebody feel a little bit offended? Well, I invite you to think that ask yourself that question. Why would I feel offended by what the thing that he said? Is it true though? And if it is true, why am I offended by it? Am I one-sided? Am I leading too much on the men than the females? Well, that's why we're talking about these examples here. We want folks to come in and talk to us about what does these examples could look like if you are not just you, but if you know of someone that is in a relationship of such. Let me see if something was in the chat here. Okay. Can a person develop this tendency in a relationship? Oh yes, easy. And especially according to societal norms, yes, it happens very, very often. Also, if in terms of how you were nurtured by your parents. So let's say you saw where mommy did all the servants. She was she seemed like the gardener or the doormat, so to speak, in the relationship. Then you might have a mindset to think that that kind of behavior is okay. And so you come and mirror or pattern this a similar behavior. One, and also number, which then make yourself very, very susceptible to becoming, to being abused, or you become an abuser because that's what you see. That's your interpretation of what serving someone should look like or should be. So you have no other frame of reference as to what a better treatment than that looks like. So it has a whole lot to do with how you were nurtured and what you saw as a child growing up. And then you come to emulate it as an adult yourself. So definitely it can be developed. Also, if you are in a society where women constantly put down, they get less pay, they do not have equal rights, they are placed in doing minimal minuscule task. They must do the lower work, so to speak. They are not presidents and bosses of anything whatsoever. They must just stay home barefoot and be pregnant and cook. That's all. As far, even if you get the education and go to school, no, you go inside and sit down because your only role is to serve into the home. If that is the kind of society, then of course they will. That is also an atmosphere or a precedence that can be put in place that can facilitate the tendency for NPD to be developed. Okay, can you please distinguish a people pleaser from a narcissist? Narcissists are not people pleasers. That's it. Narcissists, although they will do things to get the thing of people, the praise of men, but not necessarily people pleaser. So they might do something, but not necessarily, in other words, they're very strategic. So if pleasing you, I get the attention, then fine. The people pleaser now feel like they have nothing. So whether or not they get the praise of men, yes or no, they feel like they still have to do it. Okay, so that is one of the main difference. Yes, Annette, go ahead. I see you raise your hand. Annette? Oh, that's all. Go ahead. I can hardly hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I was saying in a family settings, in a home where the mother or the father is being put down, that can cause the child to be confused or the children to be confused. So they don't know, is it good for the man to be put down? Is it bad for the woman to be put down? Is it good for the woman to be put down, vice versa, put up? You understand, sir? So
Yeah.
that get them confused, and then when they grow and go in the wider society, they don't know what to do. They become helpless if they don't get help.
That's correct. Very, very good. And thank you for that. Excellent, actually. Yes. And a matter of fact, and that's how they will become narcissists for some. Either it's one extreme to the next. They can become narcissists, or they set up themselves to be abusers, to become victims of abuse.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely.
Most of the time, if they don't get help, that's what happens.
Oh, yes, definitely. Intervention would need to take place. Right. That is correct. Very, very good. And especially we live also in a society that continues to perpetuate that kind of mindset and thinking. Excellent. Thank you so very much. Non-validation of feelings. Doesn't matter. You could have cried from now till kingdom come. You can't even get the word "I'm sorry" out of them. They are never wrong. Even when they have been adjudicated as being wrong, when they finish explain why they did it this way, you end up apologizing to them.
Yes, sir, that's true. And sir, you think it's because they are proud to our support?
Oh, yes, man, definitely. 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 Thank you so very much for your comments, though. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. I want to continue to do some more of this, but I still have another raised hand. Go ahead. Different participants raising their hand. Like I say, let me see, right? So, Antoinette, you can put your hand down. Natalie, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My thing, as we would say in Jamaica, children live what they learn. And so that is why we have to be so careful. Because as simple as you may take it, as an educator, I have 1,010,000 of them going through my hand on a daily basis, yearly basis, I should say. And when you go to the home, you realize why these children behave the way they do, and you have to have sessions with the parents and all of that. So yeah, it really affects them, and that's how it becomes a part of the society.
Definitely.
And two girl, and sometimes when you call them for meeting, they don't want to come.
Definitely. Definitely.
They don't want to come because it's like they don't want to face what is happening.
Right. That is true.
That's why I threaten them. And I get them. I find ways to threaten them, and I go, as I said, I go to the homes. I find ways to manipulate them, and I get them out individually and get under the skin technically. And yeah, man, we get things done.
Yeah, sometimes it helps. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies. There was a third person with their hand up. I'm trying to I don't remember if I'm seeing the hand now. But the person who had your hand up, you can go ahead and speak. Yeah. Sekou, go ahead. Yes? No?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was wondering, I would say items this example comes under. What if there was an interaction with your partner and during the interaction or during the conversation, you know, for example, if it is me, I feel like my feelings weren't validated. We discussed it, but we didn't come to an amicable conclusion. And then I go ahead with someone else, like a friend, and I discuss it. Then they say, hey, the person was wrong. And they also confirm to me that my feelings weren't validated. And then now I go back to my partner and I say, hey, see, I went to X and X said what you did or what you said was not right. And that you didn't you didn't consider my feelings. Like, and then no, the person that you went to, your partner, and said this, he or she says, hey, as in they don't give any comment or any response, but instead they say, okay, you went to X so that they could validate your feelings, right? And that doesn't mean that, what we had earlier, as in it doesn't make any difference. Like, does that come under being disrespected, non-validation of feelings? And yeah, I was just wondering.
Okay. It could be. It could be, but I wouldn't narrow that to narcissism. That's the only thing. I wouldn't narrow that to narcissism necessarily. I definitely would not do so. And that's why we have so many, if you notice, we had several different interpretation and classification rather, and characteristic of the narcissistic personality disorder. What we're just selecting right here is some examples of how it can manifest itself in the male-female relationship. In other words, the male being the narcissist or the female being the narcissist. So it's just some things that we recognize that would happen in that relationship. But just because you felt disrespected or your feelings are non-validated, these two alone wouldn't be would not comprehensively speak to narcissism being evident in that relationship. That's all I'm saying to that.
But wouldn't it come under the idea of it being a narcissistic tendency?
No, that's what I'm saying
Okay.
to you. That's what no.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
saying just because you feel disrespected, because you might feel disrespected or your feelings.
Right.
Oftentimes in a lot of relationships, folks, if their feelings is not validated, does it mean that the other person is narcissistic? Absolutely not. Maybe
Okay.
at that point in time, they just didn't think that they thought that they were more the victim, and therefore, for the feelings to be validated, they needed to be understood. And so,
Okay.
upon reflection now, then they're prepared to validate those feelings. So is it that at that time they were narcissistic? No. Or even if you find that they were disrespected in terms of a mannerism and attitude, something that was done or even said, it does not amount to the person being narcissistic. And that's why we have in part one, and try to go over all of these traits and symptoms as to what it looks like. So it's not any one thing, it's a multiplicity of things that combines that makes a person that being diagnosed as having narcissistic personality disorder.
Thank you.
Alrighty, excellent. Thank you very much too for your comments and question. I want to still, if you don't mind, so before I take any more comments as yet, I want to continue to share where this thing is concerned. So opinions devalued. You don't have any opinion whatsoever. Whatever you say, it is, you don't have the sense, almost. That's how you're classified. No matter how legitimate the opinion is, or no matter how much sense it makes, it is still devalued. Always supporting, really supported. You're the person that is always pouring into the person, and the one time you better not get sick, okay? You're always pouring into the narcissist, way of life and thinking and operating. You better not get sick. If you ever get sick, then boy, I don't know who will take care of you. Because the narcissist is definitely not going to subject themselves to doing so. Compete, compare, control is the order of the day where the relationship is concerned. Everything it feels like a competition. You're compared to, sometimes females say, you don't behave like my dad this and my dad and what have you. And so you feel less of a person. Sometimes you might be saying to yourself, boy, I feel like I can't measure up, because my dad this and my dad do this and my dad do that and things like that. I'm not saying those examples are necessarily wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But the idea here is a constant competing, comparing, and controlling. So you might compare your spouse to somebody that you elevate and emulate, but all I'm saying, that does not help the person to be better or to become better. It's more like a put down, folks, whenever we do that. Just saying. So there's a way to do it. Okay. Even if you want to identify a wonderful trait of dad, what you don't do is to try to put down your spouse for the person to get better for the person to get better. You don't need to put them down for them to start doing better. That's not the way to do it. So that's a part of the comparing, the competing, and of course the controlling. Also, selfishness, definitely. It's all about them. No matter what the conversation looks like, no matter what the duties speaks to, it is how they will be gratified. It's how they will come out the winner it is all about how they are pleased in just about every circumstance and situation. So it's about them, literally, and less about you. And you must do your part to ensure that they come out looking good. For crying out loud, remember, they married down. Sorry, can move on. And of course, controlling the finances. Controlling the finances. It is all about when you get your money, you give it to me. Give me the money, let I decide everything about the finances. You don't have lot nor part into this. Even if I'm not working, I am not working, I'm not contributing nothing to this household, to this family, but I make all the demands about it. And I'm at it is at my disposal as to what I do with that money. So if I decide I want to give it to somebody, or give it away or whatever, or spend it on myself, then I can do so. You don't have the same liberty as I do. Okay, controlling the finances. Anybody want to comment on that part there before we move to the next slide? Just one quick comment on that. Anybody? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, true.
And sir, I know persons who actually do that, and it is because the other party is not very careful with the finances. They just spend.
Right,
So,
right.
so one person has, feel it necessary to lay down that rule.
Excellent. I'm glad that you put that up, because what we wouldn't want now is to mix up the two, right? So remember what these examples were, just to speak to those different things that can be had in this form of relationship. It does not mean now that because this happens in this relationship, it amounts to narcissistic personality disorder in that person. So I'm happy that you gave that example to show that this somebody can lay down such a rule to control the finances. Why? Because the next person might be a spendthrift, and definitely so. And as a result of that, they might have gambling problems and gambling issues. And this is why they have to be a little bit more. They have to control and decide how the money is spent. I've seen where, literally, seriously, and I have to be careful what I say here. I'm not certain who is on, but I've seen where the man is the primary income earner, and he gives, but he makes his wife the complete manager. Okay, he's the complete income earner, but she is the complete manager, because he knows when him manage, if he try to manage it, no bills don't get paid. Just saying, So there we go. There we go. Excellent. Let I go to my next slide. So what to do? What to do? Can look at the time. Yikes. Let I hurry up now. What to do? What to do? So stay with me, folks. We'll finish, but stay with me. Don't get upset, especially when this part is concerned. But what to do? People who are wed to a narcissist, whether you want to put wed or find themselves in any given relationship, it could be a brother, it could be a mother, it could be a father, it could be a friend, all I'm saying. But you have some kind of relationship with the narcissist, but I choose wed in this case, can choose one of two paths. What are they? The first is to simply give in and assume that you will spend your life long being the gardener, your life rather being the gardener, while your spouse gets to be the prized and much tendered flower. So those are the two things. You cannot say, well, I saw him stay. I saw she stay. Okay, she always thinks she's the best of everything and whatever. She wants to be the best at everything and what have you. My opinion don't count. She's always first. I have to always give in to her. It doesn't really matter. It's just, that's just the way she is. But, I want to keep my relationship. So I'm just going to accept. I'm going to accept defeat Okay, whenever we go anywhere, she speaks. I'm just very quiet. I don't say anything. People say, what? Him shy? Him can't talk? No, it's because if I talk, she's going to talk over me, and she might end up embarrassing me when I do talk. And remember that my opinions have to pass through her first. And if she doesn't qualify those opinions, then I'm going to get lambasted. And so as to spare myself of any kind of embarrassment, as a matter of fact, I'm lucky that she even carry me out this time. Normally, I'm at home, I'm babysitting for that matter. Okay, so hey, now I'm out and I come out now. I should feel good. I should feel honored that I get the opportunity to be in her presence with her friends because I don't normally know them. You know, she said, "Fix the jacket, fix the tie, stand up straight, don't slurp." Mind the spill the thing on you. Oh gosh, clean out the teeth. You know, one command after the next, and you just have to just follow suit and say, yes, 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 ma'am, yes, ma'am. And it's those, of course, I'm leaning towards the female being the narcissist. I hope you recognize that because we spend so much time talking about he, right? So I'm trying to bring a little balance here. Okay. Hence, I'm giving some examples as to what it could look like. Not saying that necessarily it is so, but what it could look like. So, so you can either say, "Hey, I will be the gardener, and so I'm good." The second, of course, is to end the relationship. Okay, by leaving and by refusing to feed your spouse's ego, so that, of course, in the end, they will be driven to find another partner. She said, "No, sir, I can't take no more of this." And of course, your storyline speaks volume to how you have been missed and ill-treated and emotionally and psychologically abused for the years that you have been in this relationship. And of course, you can give loads of examples as to why you took too long to exit this relationship. So those are the two options. Let me see what somebody has here in the chat. Now, before I read my third thing here, quickly. Okay, yeah, dear lovely. Okay, sorry what that means, but all right. But many people, of course, would prefer to keep their relationship intact, but still attempt to address some of its imbalances. If that sounds like your situation, here are some suggestions. Okay, just some suggestions. So suppose you decide that I want to stay, but I don't really want to remain as the gardener. What can I do? And that's what we're about to talk about right now. I don't want to remain, I don't want to continue to feel like I'm the gardener, while my partner remains the much tended flower. No, right? I don't want to feel like the doormat. I don't want, I'm tired of it now. But at the same time, I don't want to leave the relationship. Can I do something? And so here are some suggestions. Okay, let's go. Convince your spouse that giving you what you want will reflect well on them. Hope you start to smile already. But what? Convince your spouse that giving you what you want will reflect well on them. That's the first thing. Yeah, please don't start throwing stones at. You can catch fly. What? You can catch fly better with honey. Of course, I don't know if you know that saying. And so here's the idea. Remember, narcissists are very concerned with outward appearances. So they might well be happy to play the role of the good spouse if they believe it will earn them the high opinion of others. So people can say, "Hey, you're nicey, you're goody, why you're caring, look at you keep on thing." Because see, there is all about what I keep on doing for my spouse. So I still get the attention. I look good. He said, that's right. That's right. I feel good. And so all I'm saying, so even, so what I'm saying here is, so you, so don't push back yet. Have you write down your comments, because we know we're going to talk through them. I can ask some more questions rather, but just hear me out on them first. So what we are saying here, if you decide that you still don't want to be the doormat, but at the same time you want a change, I am saying this is a approach. It is not the only approach, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a approach. And the first one that we have here, recommendation, is that to convince your spouse, since you decide that you possibly want to stay in the relationship and you don't want to exit it, we're saying here, convince your spouse that giving them what they want will reflect well on them. So listen, hey, when you serve me, hey, you look good, And this is how we're saying you can't really come out and say it that way, clearly, but they realize that you're not being genuine about what you're doing. So we're not saying that. So we're saying here, use your own, I don't know, reverse psychology, if I can use that term, but understand that their mindset. And so so sometimes you give in, you give to get. You give to get. That's all I'm also saying. Okay. Just write your comments in your thing. That's gonna give you a chance. Next, always, well, as best as you're able to. I should say as best as you're able to. As best as you're able to, apply flattery before suggesting something your spouse can do for you. Okay? So I have it this way. When a narcissist's ego is full, they are apt to feel generous. So don't fight fire with fire. Similar to the first point, you catch fly better with honey than vinegar. And so give your spouse a sandwich, compliment, concern, compliment. What could that look like? The concern mustn't sound like a condemnation. The concern must not sound like a put down. It must really sound like a concern. So in other words, it almost sounds like you say they don't have to make the adjustment, but it's something that you're bringing to their awareness. It is something that you're bringing to their awareness, but they do not have to make the adjustment. If they feel like they don't have to make the adjustment, but they're just bringing it to their awareness, but to start off with a compliment. You know what I appreciate about you, my lovely partner? That you're such a caring and an amazing provider. And you constantly do things like that. And no, seriously, and even, when you did this and when you did that. So you're not just saying something that they can't relate to, but you gave tangible examples as to how they were providers. I'm a little bit concerned that sometimes in providing and whenever you do these things, if how does it look? Is it that people are satisfied with what you're providing for this family? Do you think people are satisfied with what you provide for this family? Do you think it is enough? But I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm only asking, do you think it is enough? But something, whether or not it is enough, yes or no, I am very grateful, and I just want you to know that, listen, if you can do better, I am here to support. But if you can't, I fully understand. If you talk like that, as against now, you keep on do this, you keep on do this, I can't take it, you claim say you support, but believe me, what kind of fool support this. This is a kind of support, eh? Just because you buy one loaf of bread, you think you do nothing? That is nothing. Anybody can live off of one loaf of bread, right? And 5 picnic in the house, and you want to eat one loaf of bread, not even butter. Bad example, okay? But I'm just saying, that's all I was just trying to do is to give an example of what compliment, concern, compliment could look like as against how we traditionally complain. Because if it feels like a complaint or a condemnation, then understand that you can get more pushback than any kind of introspection on his or her part as it relates to what kind of changes they'll be prepared to make. All righty, next. Use positive reinforcements. Use positive reinforcements. When your spouse supports you in some way or does anything that is unselfish, we're saying reinforce that behavior with praise so that they don't want to do it again. Reinforce it. Don't say, ladies and gentlemen, don't say, me naga praise her, me naga praise it. Because I don't want it flop in their head. Them already think they are the best things since sliced bread. Me naga make nothing flop in them head. Sure, bread and head. All right, let me get to do. That's all I'm just kind of saying here. Don't talk like that. Even if you think it, don't echo it. Don't say it. At least not into their earshot, so to speak. Okay? Or their hearing. All I'm just saying here, if they do something good, say, hey, you know something? You see what you did yesterday? No, man. No, man. Believe you me. You are the bomber. I don't tell a lie now, you know, but all I'm saying. All I'm just saying, right? You know, but so that the person feel good and know that, okay, I can do this again and I can do this again. Yeah, because I feel good. Excellent. That's what I'm saying here. That's how you're going. That's how you catch fly with honey. So when you even raise your concern about something or even a displeasure that you're having, they still want to hear those continuous praises. So if after you do you have positive reinforcement and speak like that and give them the kind of sandwiches and whatever, don't feel like a put down. All I'm saying here, everything that I've shared right here are examples of what? Using honey as against vinegar, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So because the whole goal is to get them to be compassionate and concerning about you and the way you are being treated in the relationship. But you can't go fight fire with fire. Amazingly, they have the handle, so to speak. If you plan to stay, that's all I'm saying. If you plan to stay, then these are some recommendations. Okay, we have more. When your spouse has a grievance, don't dismiss it. Yeah. When the person say, you know what, I can't take about you. And in your mind, in your headspace, you're like, geez, and peas, when we do wrong again? Here we go one more time. You come and complain. Every day, blessed day, is one complaint after the next. I'm tired of it now. Right? I am saying when they come and think that you can't be as up to say you have no interest in what they have to share. You have to exercise what is called active listening to what they're saying. You have to check understanding, you know. You have to do a lot of mirroring and things of and active listening. So even if they are being petulant or cankerous, engage in what? Active listening. That's what we're suggesting here. Remember to use what? Echoing. And echoing speaks to paraphrase what they say to show that you understand. Should I understand you to be saying so and so? That's echoing, okay? And the mirroring, of course, let them know that you're familiar with the feelings that they are having. Say, oh, I understand how you feel. I never thought about it, but I'm thankful that you have shared that. Wow. Because I can give an instance where I even had a similar feeling when this was done, right? I understand how you're feeling now because, sometimes don't use something bad that they did to give an example of what mirroring could look like. No, you just say, I understand, and I've been in a similar situation before, so I understand how you feel about that. That's a part of what mirroring can look like. All right, excellent, good stuff. Well, I'm just saying, if you want to stay, right, check in often, and I'm going to go back to your comments and what have you. Soon go back to that. I'm kind of hurrying up now because the time is nearly on us. But check in often. What do I mean by that? Your spouse would be far more tolerant of you doing things on your own if you periodically touch base to remind them that you love them. Send them some little notes and say, hey, my love of my life. Hello, the coffee in my cream. No, sorry. Can't see some banana lyrics. Sorry. Hello, the cream in my coffee. Coffee in my cream. That was a coffee in my cream. That's all I'm saying. I was just trying to see that thing there. All I'm saying, check in. where they don't feel like where they are prodding you or coercing you to check in on them. No, it must almost surprise them. Then say, "Whoa, wait, you think about me, man? Wow, that nice, man. That nice." So because they feel good that you're checking in on them, that you are praising them as against putting them down. They feel good. Okay, so what do you think they're going to do? They are going to want more of that, so they're going to possibly do the things so they can get more of those type of praises, or compliments, I should state. Flirt, yeah, flirt. This is good advice, of course, for any relationship, marriage especially. Pardon me. As it's always a good idea to keep an element of fun and mystery alive. But narcissists actually crave this kind of sexual attention, and giving it to them definitely will make them less likely to seek it elsewhere. So flirt, um, and we won't get into any examples as to what that could look like. But who knows? Maybe you can think of one or two, right? But all I'm just saying, flirt with them, I have some things in my head, but let me leave that alone because of time's sake. There we go. But definitely flirt, definitely flirt with them, say, wow, I can't wait for you to come home, hurry and come home because, I need my teddy bear, to cuddle, or something that effect, or say to the female that listen, the softness of your skin, man, your appearance captivates my curiosity. I don't know, make up a song and sing it to her and what have you, and call her name while you're singing the song. Just say, flirt, do something, okay? But above all, and we kind of finish right here, right now, but above all, be sure, however, catch this, not to lose yourself. Biggest recommendation is that you do not what? Don't lose yourself. Don't lose yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, you're doing these things to create a better balance in your relationship. That is the goal, to create a better balance. Okay, don't lose sight of that goal. In addition, under no circumstance should you drop your relationship with your friends and other family members, though they are going to request it and require you to do the same. Don't do that. Don't do that. I am of the firm belief, I should say, that we must make a distinction between our home life, our work life, and our social life. I do believe that we must have those three. And we should strive to ensure that those three exist in our lives and livelihood. Strong supporter and believer of that. A lot of folks might, you will say, well, I do have a social life. Not good. Find one. And if your social life does not, yes, when you hear me say it does not have to be with your spouse. Okay? Seriously. It does not have to be with your spouse. Your spouse don't have to be your best friend, by the way. Just saying. It does not have to be. And one should not feel like, boy, you're missing out if your spouse is not your best friend. No, absolutely not. Okay? So, just say, all we're kind of saying here that these folks that were in your life prior to your relationship help with grooming who you are and who you became as a person, okay? And put you into a place where you're able to even have this relationship now with your present partner, okay? They contributed in molding you, and your now partner is a beneficiary of that molding that you got. So what you're going to do? Get rid of it? No. That's what I'm saying. Don't do that. Though the narcissistic personality disorder, or the person with that mindset, will want to get all the attention to the neglect of even your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. They want to have you to themselves totally. And if you ever feel like you're going to give allegiance to them, to family members over them, then they use it on cuss you and quarrel with you and say you're choosing them over thing there. I'm like, look here, it's a different relationship. It is a different relationship. You want me to denounce my relationship with my family, and so that I can elevate you? Don't fall for it. Do not fall for it. And that's why the last recommendation is the most important one of them all. We're saying, don't, above all, be sure that you do not lose yourself, and don't let them manipulate or coerce you in doing just that. Okay, they will remind you that you are more than a mere extension of your spouse. I'm talking to your family members. They will remind you that you are more than a mere extension of your spouse. Thank you so very much. I hope and trust that what we shared just now, it was packed with enough information, gave you an idea. Please go back and watch part 1, so you have a comprehensive idea as to what we have been discussing and things of this nature. Okay. Let me go to the chats now and see what you have there in store for me. But definitely, ladies and gentlemen, many thanks for you being on, for you sharing with your comments and with your questions and such the likes. Let me see what the comments look like. Okay. Let me see. I want to make certain I'm on top of these comments. Oh, part 1. All right. In the announcement, Mr. Trevor Smith will tell you how to access part 1. Okay. All right. Let me quickly. I have to wrap up now. Sometimes they don't want to leave because of what people would say. That is true. Sometimes the opposite partner is dying. Definitely. Sorry to ask this now. I may need to jump off. Okay. Is there a way to watch a replay or get access? Definitely. So we will share with you how that can be done. And in a relationship, people usually put out the best, how can you detect a narcissist? That can be had both in this one here and in part 1. So please watch part 1 also. Okay. Thank you very much again. Yeah, so to get access to the program, let me just turn this over to Mr. Trevor Smith, and he will direct us as to how to get access to these programs. Thank you.
Okay, this Nav Life series is on YouTube. Simply Christians, JA. Simply Christians with a S, Christians, JA, one word. Just look on your YouTube channel and you should see all the Nav Life sessions as well as our Bible classes and our worship service. All right. So that's it. I want to thank you again. Look forward to seeing you in our worship. 77 Red Hills Road. We start at 9 a.m. and we have a Bible class immediately after that. And then on Tuesdays, we meet in the building as well, but you can also use this Zoom link for our Bible class as well. So thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you. Thank you, Brother Andre.
Sure. And thank you to all for coming and supporting us here on this platform. God bless you all.
Right. You have the hosting, Andre, so you have to close down.
Okay, then. Have a good one, folks. Remember, the end of this month, we also have our grief counseling on this same platform, so you can come and support us where that is concerned. It will not be recorded. And also, next month, we will have a new speaker. But again, many thanks for being here. Have a good one, folks. God bless you all.
You know,